Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. So it's 10 p.m. here in the UK and I thought I'd take the opportunity to see what sort of footage we're able to capture with the DJI Mini 3 Pro in these sorts of, low light conditions. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, but I just get so tired by this time of night. I have had to drag myself out to do this, but it is a test I've been wanting to do, so hopefully it will be helpful to you guys. I've done low light tests and even a night flight with the DJI Mini 2 in the past, but the problem is the sensor is just so small on the Mini 2 that you just really can't capture anything of substance with that particular drone. However, the Mini 3 Pro does have a larger image sensor, so hopefully in these lower light conditions it should be able to find a way of capturing more light, but that's something we're going to discover together. So I'm going to get the drone into the air. We'll record some video footage to see how that looks, and I will probably take a couple of photos as well. I've got a full battery charge, 100%, so by the time we finish it'll probably be even darker than it is now, and we'll just see how the drone adapts to that during the flight. I'm not going to be flying far. I really just want to see how the drone performs in these sorts of lower light conditions. So I hope the video is helpful to you, and if it is, please do drop a like, and you can subscribe as well for future DJI Mini 3 Pro content. Right, so we're just waiting for a satellite connection here. Let's go ahead and start the screen recording as well, of course. There we go. It's nice to be getting the Mini 3 Pro back out actually. I've been flying the Mini 2 quite a bit again lately. I'm just going to go through my pre-flight checks here, especially because of it being obviously, a low light flight. I've got my obstacle avoidance on. I'm not exactly sure how well the obstacle avoidance works in the dark. Maybe you guys can shed some light on that, no pun intended, but I realised as I was saying it then it was coming out. I'm still running 1.6.1 on the Mini 3 Pro. For whatever reason, DJI do not want to push their latest app versions out to this device, which is strange because it says on the update notes for 1.6.4 and 0.5 that they have stability improvements, but they never seem to rush themselves, do they, in updating various devices and what have you, so we'll just have to be patient there. But let's go ahead, shall we, and get the drone up into the air. And it's the first time I'm really getting to see those LEDs in action. I can't show you because I haven't got my head cam on tonight, but they seem pretty powerful actually. Okay, so let's gain a bit of height first. I'm not hearing that buzz in my ear then. Okay, at 40 metres. And I've got to say, the image quality, at least on the controller, is looking very, very good indeed. Far better than I expected. I'm going to go ahead and start recording. Let me just check my video settings. I currently have everything set to auto, which is the first thing we're going to test out, because auto should adjust automatically, of course, the exposure values and that, depending on the current lighting conditions. So, yeah. We're on video mode, 4K 30. Let's start recording there. And I'm just going to go for a little flight here, down the garden. And then we'll see how the actual video that comes out of the drone memory card compares to this. Yeah, I think those LEDs are going to be pretty useful for these sorts of flights. The drone is more visible now than it is during the daytime, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't see what's on the memory card right now, whereas you guys can. So let me know in the comments what you think of the video footage. This is, as I say, 10 p.m. at night here in the UK. And I've got to say, it looks a lot brighter on the drone than it does with my own eyes here in real life. But that could just be to do with how the exposure settings are adjusting automatically. But things are looking very crisp indeed. Let's see if I can get myself into the shot, shall we? Yes, I mean, on this display anyway, it certainly looks a lot brighter to me than it does actually out here in the wild. So the drone is certainly compensating there, and hopefully the actual finished video is going to be looking good as well. I suspect, I mean, again, you guys will be seeing this, I won't be, that it will be a little bit noisy. And the reason for that is, in order to adjust the exposure in a low light condition, you just get that video noise automatically. It's like the downside of it, really. It's just how cameras work and how sensors work. But we can, if we want, let's say, for example, okay, let's just look at the forest, shall we? Let's say I want to capture this woods here. What we can do is we can adjust the... Can I do this while it's recording? Yeah, yes, apparently I can. Yeah, we can change it to Pro mode and change it back to auto whenever we want to. And we can adjust the settings manually. So, for example, if we raise the ISO value right up, let's raise it to 3200, and we'll reduce the shutter speed a little bit. Say to 1/60, which is double our frame rate since I'm recording at 30 frames per second, then I think we get a very nice image here. I really do. I'm not going to raise the gimbal up too much there. Let's just do a bit of a cinematic sweep here. Yeah, there's still likely to be some noise because I've rammed that ISO value right up, but maybe we could reduce that a little bit more as well. Maybe to 1600, it might go a tad darker here. Yeah. But how do we think that image looks? In fact, I would say that's starting to look closer to what I'm seeing in real life with my own eyes in terms of visibility. But you might not like that in the sense that you can't capture as much detail with your shots and stuff. So we can always adjust the shutter speed as well and just reduce that a little more. You can see that we capture a little bit more of the light then as well. You have to have a play about with these settings, because you've got to find the right balance of having the noise that you're happy to accept in your videos and in your images, whilst also actually being able to see what it is you're photographing. So yeah, the point is though, with the Mini 3 Pro, you should get better consistent results than you do with the DJI Mini 2. Especially, it's even darker now than when I first started recording this video. Okay, so what we're going to do now is stop the recording there. I'm just going to stick this back to auto mode for the time being. And I'm going to take a couple of pictures. We'll see how it can take photos, how those photos come out. Oh, no, I did not mean to turn the gimbal there. I do like that feature, though I've never used it really myself, apart from showcasing it off to you guys. Yeah, that's better. Having autofocus is something that I always keep forgetting to change back, so you have to forgive me for that. You'll probably have to remind me again in a future video when you've noticed that it's back to manual focus, that I need to switch it back to autofocus. Let's just go ahead and change over to photo here. And once more, we are currently in the auto exposure setting. Yeah, I do like being able to switch the aspect ratio there. For those that do, I don't know, what is it, TikTok, Instagram, all of that stuff that I have no idea how to use. It's great to be able to capture the full range of pixels without having to crop the image. Yeah, as you can see, you know, let's just go ahead and take a photo here. If I just raise the gimbal up a touch, we'll try and get some of the sky in. And because we're in auto exposure, it's looking a lot brighter on the screen than it actually is. But we'll take a photo here. And what I'm going to do then is adjust the settings. So we'll pop them into manual mode. And what we're going to do is adjust the shutter and the ISO once more. So we'll have to raise the ISO once again. Let's take it to 3200. And if we reduce the shutter again to about 1/60, I tend to try and have the shutter speed double what my frame rate is currently set to. Now, of course, with a photo, you don't have a frame rate, but because I know that I'd be filming in 30 frames per second, if I was doing video, I would generally try and keep the shutter at 1/60 and then adjust the ISO in order to fit whatever the shutter speed is. So here we are at 3200. Let me just see how it would look at 1600. Perhaps a little dark for my liking. I don't know. I would say that's pretty accurate. I know it looks a lot darker to you now, guys, than it did a moment ago, but this is actually more accurate to the current lighting situation than it was on 3200, where it was really perhaps overexposing the image. So let's go ahead and take a photo there. I still suspect on the finished result there's going to be quite a bit of noise. But yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of the quality of a low light image such as that one I've just taken. Now, a little tip for you guys as well is that when you're flying your drone around in these low light conditions, you don't really care about the exposure in terms of the noise that it produces, because you're just moving into positions to take your shots. So just to help you with your flight and with what you can see on screen, I recommend just ramming things as high as you want them, really. So if we take the exposure to 6,400 and maybe even increase the reduce the shutter speed a little bit, look how that looks now. Okay, you're not going to particularly want to be taking photos with this setting, but it's just going to give you far more visibility when moving around the place. It really is. So that you can at least capture your subjects and get a good position around it. You'll be able to see a lot more of the surroundings, and then you can adjust your exposure settings to get the perfect shot. But I've got to say, the Mini 3 Pro is super impressive here. I cannot believe how the exposure settings here give me such a clear, visible image on the controller, when I can see how dark it is around me with my own eyes. And the fact that I can see the drone up in the air flashing with the green LEDs, that's awesome. When I can see how much brighter it is on the screen, it is definitely an improvement over the Mini 2. There's just no two ways about that. There really isn't. So let's see if I can get a picture of myself again here. It's starting to get very dark now. Okay, and what does the auto setting do here? It pretty much has the settings that I had set, so that's fine. But let's go ahead and reduce that ISO back down to 1600 and increase the shutter to 1/60. Yeah, that's pretty much how dark it is now around here. So there's no point me taking a picture there because, well, it's too dark. We're not going to see anything. And in fact, I feel like I'm disappearing here on my phone video as well because of the low light situation. So apologies if the screen there goes black. But if we just raise the ISO to let a little bit more light in, increase the exposure and take a photo. Yeah, how does that look? You tell me. That's with the setting at 1/60 shutter speed and 3200 ISO. We can also do a little bit of manual adjustment if we wanted as well. I'm going to leave that. And let's just pop it back into auto mode for now. So we've been flying for about 15 minutes, and it is starting to get dark really fast here. So what I think I'm going to do is take it out for one last flight over the woods, since the light has subsided quite a significant amount since our first flight about 15 minutes ago, and we'll see how the drone handles these conditions. This is probably about the most comfortable I am at the moment in flying in terms of how dark I want it to go. Not because I'm scared or anything, but just because there comes a point where there just really is no point. You're just not going to see anything, even with the bigger sensor on the Mini 3 Pro. So we'll just increase height a little bit. Obviously I can't go far, and we are down to about half battery anyway. And if I just change it back to video, okay, so yeah, about 45 meters. We'll head back over to the trees, and then I'm just going to adjust those settings again manually, and we'll have a bit of a cinematic fly, I guess, above the trees. It's about the most exciting thing there is to see around here. There we go. So let's just change that back to manual. And I'm going to have to increase the ISO. We'll drop the shutter down to 160, increase the ISO to 3200. Yeah, again guys, how does that look to you? Let's just pop it into cine mode for now. Start recording once more. And Yeah, let me know what you think. There's very, very little lighting around here. Obviously, if there was street lighting or residential lighting, then you'd probably want to adjust those exposure settings further. But I am impressed, seriously. I think the Mini 3 is doing a great job here. I really do. Let's just bring the sky in a touch, see how it handles that. Yeah, the sky's certainly looking brighter here on the screen than it is in real life. Lost a little bit of connection there. I would like to get those connection issues sorted, the transmission issues that I've been experiencing lately. I'm hoping a firmware update will be able to resolve them, because they've still not gone away completely. And it used to be such a much stronger transmission on the Mini 2, you know, a year ago or so. And it's not a Mini 3 Pro issue, because I have the same issues now with the Mini 2 as well. Yeah, so that was a nice smooth flight in cine mode. Here we come. What do you guys think of that footage? Oh, because we're flying around, I'm going to stick it back into auto mode again. Bum ba dum bum ba dum ba dum. Bum ba dum bum ba dum ba dum. Let's see if I can land back on this green bench thing, this bar. Let's turn it around. And down we go. It's not liking it. There we go. I was worried then. I didn't want it to fly off the edge. You probably can't see that because there's a trough full of water underneath that I need to empty. So, but we're okay. Just a brief panicky moment. I'd forgotten all about that trough just until literally the drone touched down, and then I remembered, but we're okay. We survived. Okay, so I know it's a little bit dark, guys. So can you see me? Probably not. But yeah, what do you think of the videos then and the photos we were able to take in these low light conditions? Please do share your thoughts down in the comments. And are you impressed with the capabilities of the Mini 3 Pro? Personally, I think it did a great job. There's going to be better drones out there for this type of flying, but for the all-complete package at under 250 grams, the Mini 3 continues to impress. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for future drone content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everybody.